Summary of the Symposium by Plato. Apollodorus, a young man and Socrates' follower, is walking with an unnamed partner. He tells his friend about a recent chat he had with Glaucon, another friend, in which Glaucon talked about a dinner party that happened in Athens more than 10 years ago. Apollodorus wasn't at the party, but a friend of his named Aristodemus, who was also a student of Socrates, was. Aristodemus told Apollodorus everything he saw and heard there. Aristodemus says that one day he met Socrates, who asked him to Agathon's house for a dinner party, or discussion. A Greek traditional banquet called a symposium includes singing hymns, giving gifts to the gods, and drinking wine. At the symposium, a doctor named Eryximachus suggests that they take turns making talks praising love, or the god Eros. The first speech is given by Phaedrus, a young rhetoric student. He says love is an old god who bestows great things, like the love between a lover and his boyfriend. Being in these kinds of situations makes you feel both proud and ashamed, which are both good things to have in life. He also says that love makes men and girlfriends willing to die for each other, which is good for society, especially during war. Agathon's older lover Pausanias says it's important to tell the difference between heavenly love and common love. People who are less smart feel common love for women and boys who aren't smart. Love from heaven is aimed at older boys who are starting to become smarter. Even in the second type of relationship, a man should only please his girlfriend if both of them want to improve his knowledge and character. In his speech, Eryximachus talks about what he has learned about love from being a doctor. He especially sees how love affects the balance of body fluids, musical notes, the weather, and the ties between people and the gods. Aristophanes, a comedic writer, starts his speech with a story. He says that people used to be made up of two half-humans, or one male and one female. When these early humans made a threat to the gods, Zeus cut them in half. The half-humans that were made were sexually drawn to the type of person they were originally joined with, either men to women, and women to men, women to women, or men to men. Every half-human longs and searches to be reunited with their other half. So, in the end, love is looking for something that is like you. Agathon's speech is the most amazing in terms of how it is put together, but it doesn't say much. He praises love as the most beautiful god because love has wonderful qualities and gives those traits to all good things. Socrates first asks Agathon some tough questions when he starts to talk. To get Agathon to agree with him, love must love something it doesn't already have. A wise woman named Diotima of Mantinia was the next person Socrates talks about. Socrates learns from Diotima that love is not a god but a daimon, or a spirit that stands between people and gods. The fact that the gods are already happy and beautiful shows that this is the form. However, love can't be a god because he needs something. She also tells Socrates that love is not the thing that is loved, but the person who wants and needs the loved thing. Also, the thing that is loved, the good, is always wanted. Diotima goes on to say that love's job is to give birth to beauty in the mind and the body. In short, she means that love is the thing that lasts forever. Having real children is one way that people often try to reach this evil goal. But men who have immortal children, like virtues and philosophical talks, are on the right road. Diotima goes on to say that everything she has said so far leads to the final mysteries. As she talks about a ladder of ascent, it shows how a person that loves knowledge can reach a picture of the eternal good. This rise starts with loving one body, but over time it sees the beauty in all bodies. It then moves from bodies to minds and starts to understand how all kinds of beauty are connected. When someone likes beauty in general, they don't care as much about specific examples of beauty. He will be able to see beauty as it always is in itself, not just as it shows in things that share its qualities once he gets to this point. This is the only time a philosopher, someone who loves knowledge, shows the kind of character that will last forever. Soon after Socrates finishes speaking, Alcibiades, the famous and good-looking politician who is in love with Socrates, storms into the party while drunk. Socrates, not love, is the one he praises the most. He talks about Socrates' famous moderation, sexual control, and constant focus on intellectual problems, even while he was fighting. Even though Alcibiades is deeply drawn to Socrates, he can't follow in his footsteps because he finds Socrates' way of life so strange. He still says good things about Socrates' speeches, which cover most of what you need to know to be a good person. Soon after, the discussion falls apart into chaos. Socrates leaves alone the next morning after having a short conversation with Agathon and Aristophanes.
About the author. Plato was one of the most important thinkers who ever lived. His ideas have had a big impact on Western philosophy ever since. He was born into a wealthy Greek family. Plato, which means broad in Greek, was said to have been Aristotle's wrestling coach's nickname. When Plato was young, he wanted to be a writer. But when he was in his late teens or early 20s, he heard Socrates teaching in the market and chose to become a philosopher instead. At age 28, Plato continued to learn from Socrates. That year, in 399 BC, the older philosopher was tried and killed for being immoral. After this, Plato traveled around the Mediterranean before settling down in Athens to write and start his academy, which was the first university like the ones we have today. Aristotle became his most famous student there. The academy stayed open until 86 BC. Plato also came up with the dialogue, a type of writing that shows a talk between two or more people. He wrote more than 20 conversations, but Euthyphro, Apology, Crito, Meno, Phaedo, and the Republic are some of the most well-known. He was 81 years old when he died.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.